All right, here we go with Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. We were just talking about the unity of Christ that he brings, overcoming the natural human barriers in verse 11. But now it's this response that if Christ is our uniting factor, how should we respond? And let me put up the color code. Pause that if you need to, but let's keep moving. Here he says, put on then. So here we go. Put on then. It's this, that then is a response to what's going on as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved. And boy, that is a whole. I can't get too deep into this in a short video that I'm trying to keep to 5 minutes. I couldn't even do it in the last one. But chosen ones, we are chosen by God. We are God's chosen ones. We're holy. We're set apart, in other words, and beloved. We're loved. This whole verse is still very much echoing or proceeding, however you want to look at it, Ephesians chapter 4, where he ends the whole put off and put on passage with putting on, kindness and compassion at the end of chapter 4. But then it goes on to 5:2, where he says, as dearly loved children, be imitators of God, live a life of love. So you get that same idea in Ephesians 2 here, but also that same concept. So, but the choosing of God, I can't help but just say something. Oftentimes we get caught up in going, what does it mean to be chosen? Am I chosen or am I not chosen? What if I'm chosen? What if I'm not chosen? Instead of understanding the whole point of being chosen is for this response. Like Paul, as it says several times in Acts in different ways, but I think the most clear one is in Acts 26. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Acts 26, 16 to 18, where Paul is God's chosen instrument to be a witness so that he can help others. Basically, God is using him as a tool to save others and bring them to salvation. So it's not necessarily, and again, we could get into a lot of verses. I'm trying to shorten it, so I know some might go, well, what? The choosing is what you're called to as a response for God or to God, so that you can carry on ministry for him and carry on to others. It's not necessarily excluding someone because they're not chosen as one of those, but rather he's choosing some to be used to help others. Comes with more responsibility, comes with a higher calling. Even in that same passage in Acts, it talks about God saying it's hard. Christ says it's hard to kick against the goads to Paul, because Paul was chosen, and obviously he was refusing some of the conviction that God was already doing. And I mean, boy, that was some huge sin for Paul, but God overcame him and shaped him. So anyways, we as believers then are still chosen. We're holy and beloved. So we're chosen ones because God chose us, and we're holy because God makes us holy, and we're beloved by God. But we're still to put on. So what are we putting on then? Here we're to put on compassionate hearts. So we're supposed to obey in this. We're supposed to put on kindness, humility. These things don't come naturally to us, but this is a response to God's love for us, his salvation, the grace. This is not we don't do this to get the grace, but rather it's a response to grace. It's the appropriate response. It's the supernatural response, if you want to put it that way. But also it's kind of the necessary response, because when God changes your character, you aren't compassionate, you're not kind, you're not humble, you're going to suffer. You're going to have all kinds of conviction and turmoil within yourself. So when it doesn't come naturally, we still, by the Spirit working in us, we're still to put these things on. Meekness, meekness is not weakness. It is controlled sake for the sake of others, controlled strength for the sake of others, and then patience or long suffering. These are all things that we don't naturally want to do. Oh, we might have a little stirring here and there, but kindness is actually doing what's good for others, even when maybe they don't deserve it. But all these things are because we're chosen by God, holy and beloved, so that as we do this for others in the church, outside the church, it has an effect. So that's a real quick run through in that, but hopefully we'll keep, Lord willing, we'll keep going into verse 13, but take this in and really think through, what is your response of God's choosing you to not just be saved, but rather to partner with him and glorify him and bless others? Well, our response should be compassionate hearts, kindness towards others, humility and meekness and patience. And we'll keep going in verse 13 next time. So, all right, God bless you guys.